Good morning. Today is Thursday, May 26, 2022. The time is 9:05 a.m. and I'm calling to order this meeting of the Alameda County Lead Poisoning Prevention Program's Joint Powers Authority. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to exemptions to the Brown Act authorized by Assembly Bill 361 during the COVID pandemic. The governor has provided for local public agencies, including ours, to continue to meet via teleconference, provided that the state of emergency remains in existence and findings are made not less than every 30 days, that the safety and health and welfare of our staff, the public, and our members is best provided for by conducting meetings via teleconference. If you wish to join this meeting, you could do so by going to our agenda found on our website and using the link provided for in today's agenda, or you may join us by telephone. If you wish to provide public comment, I will afford public members the opportunity to do so during this meeting using the raise hand feature or by pressing *9 via telephone. You can also email your comments in advance to Ladisa de la Fuente at her email address provided for in the agenda. This time, I'd like to begin by asking for the roll call.
Director Hardy? Hardy absent. Director Brown or alternate Savas?
Present.
Savas present. Director Vela? Director Vela absent. Director Winruff? Winruff absent. Director Gallo?
Present.
Gallo present. Director Bowders?
Here.
Bowders present. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Now is the time for public comment. Members of the public, directors, alternates, staff, or others who wish to comment for an item not on this agenda will be afforded 2 minutes to do so. Did we receive any written comments in advance of today's meeting?
No written comment.
Okay, and seeing no hands raised, public comment is now closed. We'll turn to agenda item number 3, which is our AB 361 resolution. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, is there any comment on this resolution? Seeing none, I'll take a motion on this resolution.
So move.
I second the motion. Motion by Gallo, second by Bowders to approve the AB 361 resolution. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy? No, abstain. Director Brown or alternate Savas?
Yes.
Savas, aye. Director Vela? Vela absent. Director Winruff? Winruff absent. Director Gallo?
Aye.
Gallo, aye. Director Bowders?
Aye.
Bowders, aye.
Okay, the motion carries. The resolution is approved. Item 4 is the meeting minutes from April 28th, 2022. There's no public comment and there's no presentation. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So move.
Second, motion by Gallo, second by Bowders to approve the minutes from April 28th. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy? Hardy absent. Alternate Savas?
Yes.
Savas, aye. Director Vela? Vela absent. Director Winruff? Winruff absent. Director Gallo?
Aye.
Gallo, aye. Director Bowders?
Aye.
Bowders, aye.
Thank you. The motion is approved. The minutes are approved. Item 5 is July 28th, 22 JPA board meeting proposed rescheduling. I'm going to table this item until we see if Director Wengraf can be here. We'll move to the department's goals and objectives for fiscal year 22-23, item 6.
Morning, directors. I'm going to review a couple of items this year, our goals and objectives. Not going through the whole thing, but a couple that I want to highlight that we are very happy to be starting. Some of the activities that are coming online first, utilizing the lead settlement funds in the next 2 to 3 months. As we're able to bring on additional staff, we'll be able to implement some of the other activities. But one of the first ones that's coming online is our deeper response to families of lead poisoned children, down to with families down to levels of 3.5. Currently, we are reaching families down to 4.5 to 9.4 by sending educational materials through the mail, but there hasn't been any other follow-up. So our expansion of these services is to be able to reach out either email, by phone, working with providers to be able to provide education and resources to those families. Because one of the things that we're really concerned about is that after the initial blood lead level, there hasn't been any follow-up blood lead level. So we do not have any visibility to know whether or not the levels are staying the same or going down, or unfortunately, they may be going up. And so we want to reach out to those families and provide information and resources to them to be able to get a follow-up blood lead test, also working with providers. We are starting with the priority neighborhood, and I think we've talked about that in these meetings before in terms of starting in Ashland Cherryland area. That is the area, according to our data, that shows that they have a lot more lead poisoning children relative to their population, older housing, income levels, some of those criteria that we're looking at. So we'll start there, but we'll branch out in the rest of the county as we obviously bring on more resources and branch out. So that's one of the areas that we're going to be working on very soon, now in the next 2 to 3 months. I'll pause there for any questions on that. I just want to give a couple more points before I go on.
Yeah, just a couple of comments too, but directors, you have the floor first. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. I'd like to just note for the record that both directors Wingraf and Hardy have joined us during item 6. And are there any questions at this point on the presentation related to objectives? Okay, go ahead, continue.
Okay.
So,
You have comments. Sorry, Larry.
Comment in terms of, that objective to provide services at the lower levels, as April has indicated, because of lack of money, honestly, we aren't able to provide much follow-up for the lower levels, even though the Center for Disease Control says there's no safe level of lead to be in the blood of a child. So in an ideal world, we would have a nurse respond to every child that's lead poisoned, but you won't find that in many jurisdictions because they just don't have the money to do it. Maybe in some of the small rural counties where it's very rare that a child gets lead poisoned, then you might see that happen. But Alameda County, like many other urban centers, just can't do that. But maybe one day we will. As April has indicated, with the lead settlement money, we're able to at least do some hot spotting. Ashland is going to be the hot spot where we start in terms of the unincorporated county. But Director Gallo, as you know, the city of Oakland, in terms of the lead settlement funds, they're proposing in the race and equity impact analysis that they also identify some hotspot census tracts where we might try to provide that level of service to those neighborhoods where children have elevated blood lead levels. And we are, I'll talk a little bit more about that later in terms of where we are with the settlement.
Okay. Just a couple of other items, activities that are coming online actually right now. We are able to offer lead safety training to property owners, property managers, and owner maintenance staff. And that, again, we're starting in the priority neighborhoods, and then we'll branch out as we bring on additional staff and resources. And another critical piece that relates to both of those items that I mentioned before is data gathering. One of the things that we are realizing is that, being able to answer questions about characteristics of families with lead poisoning in order to be able to try to determine, are there trends or other defining characteristics that we need to be aware of in order to determine, is there a trend, continuing the trend up for non-housing sources? Are there certain areas that are more prone to different sources rather than others? Are there other demographic criteria that we should be aware of in order so that we have that information so that we can engage and address the community appropriately? So data gathering is an analysis is a piece in all of our activities that we'll be able to do with this additional lead settlement money. But that was just my comments on the broad goals and objectives. I don't know, Larry, if you had anything else on that. And then Sony is going to give a detailed presentation on our engagement and education efforts.
Okay.
Nothing, Larry? Okay.
So that's the end of the presentation on that?
Sony is going to
Okay.
give this is part of the goals and objectives. It's just the E&E specifically.
All right, great. Good morning, Sony.
Hi, good morning. Lee, if you are able to share the PowerPoint.
Just a moment.
And if you could put it in presentation mode for me.
Yeah, just a moment. Let me move the screens around. Okay. Tell me when to click enter for the
Of
next.
course. So good morning. We have been pretty busy. Today I'm going to talk about some of the strategies and activities that we have planned for the new fiscal year 2022 and 2023. Next slide, please. Wanted to go into a really quick overview of some of the things that we have done for this fiscal year 2021 going into 2022. Again, like I said, we've been really busy. The pandemic slowing down really helped us out because people are really anxious to get out into the community and get some resources. And so one of the things that we focused on this year was really was with school outreach. We were able to connect with a lot of schools from the city of Oakland, San Lorenzo High School, Cherryland Elementary, which is in the Ashland Cherryland area. And one of the highlights that Director Gallo is very well of is the United for Success School and an after-school program called Frontline Catalyst. They are actually a program that is through the East Bay Academy of Young Scientists, which is acronymed EBASE. And basically, they're doing a curriculum to teach the students how to identify lead hazards. They were able to do some soil sampling that was provided through the Lawrence Livermore Lab of Science. And then they took the results and the findings of the soil samples that they collected throughout the community to the community, to parents, to neighbors, to peers. And then they also established a Fruitvale Bill of Rights, which allowed them to do some social justice work at the very young age of, I think, 7th, 8th, and 9th grader. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, because it's a middle school. EBASE was also able to duplicate the program with the Emeryville High School. And that meeting, actually, the presentation of their findings was last night that Larry attended. And so we'll probably have an update on that coming up soon. And then another thing that we've done is renewed our partnership with Oakland Unified School District. So in the upcoming year, some of our plans are to create a curriculum based on lead poisoning and enroll social justice along with that, so that the students could not only learn on a scientific basis, but also on a equality and social justice basis. One of the other things that we've done is we've expanded our role with some of our existing partners, and then we've developed new partners as well. Some of the new partners aren't as traditional as before, but we're really excited about some of the new partnerships, and I'll talk about that in a further slide. Next slide, please.
Miss Hardy is here. Hi, Miss Hardy is on the line.
We mute Ms. Hardy.
Thank you.
So starting in the 2022-2023 fiscal year, we are planning to promote specific campaigns as we did last year. One of the campaigns, of course, is going to be back to school with school-age children, especially elementary school children, as one of our peak audiences. We plan on targeting the school districts as well as the Alameda County Office of Education to enrich or to include any type of flyers, program announcements, and educational messages with the schools. And then also Lead Week is a campaign that we normally do every year as well. And so we're planning on those 2 seasonal campaigns. And then we'll probably add another 2 campaigns for a total, we're hoping around a total of 4 campaigns, where we're gonna incorporate either a neighborhood campaign with a specific targeted neighborhood, which we've already identified. And April was able to share that with, through some of our key indicators of the number of lead poisoned child per population, the number of aged housing, the number of total children in that particular neighborhood, and then the income demographics. And so that is going to be the Ashland Cherryland area that we're starting. However, we will broaden that to other areas of the county based on our data collection. And then we're also planning on different neighborhood campaigns based on health, racial and health equality. And so this past year, we did a Spanish language campaign, and we also did another neighborhood campaign that targeted some of the schools that we worked with, and we were able to really broaden that to the neighborhood as a whole. Next slide, please. One of the other strategies that we're doing is to increase our overall awareness. And so by doing that, we're going to actually cast out a wider net and just increase our visibility, increase the way that people are able to know that we exist. And fortunately, we're known nationwide, but as many of you have probably heard locally, we keep hearing the fact that, oh, I never knew you guys existed. And so our goal for this upcoming fiscal year is really to do a broad awareness campaign through local newspapers, including Oakland side and Berkeley side, who actually have an online as well as a print newspaper, the Oakland Post and the Alameda Sun. We're also identifying other newspapers in the unincorporated area. We're going to continue our radio campaigns, either with iHeartRadio, with KBLX, and some of the other news radio stations that we've been, especially Pandora, that we've been utilizing. And then we're doing more television. So again, with our racial and health equity, we've reached out to Univision. We've done morning shows, interviews, and commercials. And so based on how those go, we'll probably look into other television avenues. And then, of course, our social media with Johnny on board and a little bit of Director Bowder's influence. We'll be beefing up our social media even more, adding new partners, adding new links to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We're instituting different contests to really engage our audience, not just to post information, but really try to engage them to get them to play a role in, some of the announcements that we're doing. And then finally, our email and our e-subscribe program. It's actually flourishing. Currently, we have just a little under 24,000 subscribers. And with our e-subscribe, we're able to categorize them by either property owners or parents or contractors, rental property owners, people that are doing the work themselves. And so this has been a really useful tool to capture specific target audiences so that when we do have a campaign, we're able to shoot out that email and just reach a broader network of people. And then we've also been able to utilize it to leverage some of our partnerships by allowing them to do announcements with our e-subscribe. And that way we have a win-win relationship with some of the new partners that we've brought on. Next slide, please. Okay, so targeted outreach is another way that we're planning to move forward in the new coming fiscal year. So we have our broad outreach where we're casting the wider net just for general visibility, but then we're also doing a very targeted outreach program to specific venues and specific platforms. And so, what we're planning on doing is identifying specific neighborhoods and just saturating that area with all the community events that we can do, from health fairs to school outreach functions to wellness events. We're also planning on reaching, we've identified partners in these specific areas and providing presentations. All of our presentations now are pretty much being recorded, and so we're able to post them on our YouTube page and really beef up our presence on our YouTube page so that people have a lot of different reference materials and videos that that they can access at a later time. We're also, again, doing targeted radio and television campaigns to the particular neighborhood or audience. So like with the Univision, we're targeting the Spanish speaking audience. And so we were really able to key in on those. Our text messaging campaigns work very well, and we're going to incorporate those with any type of outreach that we do where there might be some low literacy, or we just really want to capture that audience. With our text messaging campaigns, you may or may not know, we're able to capture a list of phone numbers in our database, and we can attach that list of phone numbers with a particular campaign. And so if we're doing something specific to rental property owners and we're asking them to text DIY to 22999, then all the phone numbers under that text code DIY, we know are towards rental property owners. So again, if we have a new program that is specific to rental property owners, all we have to do is utilize that list, and we're able to send out links, we're able to send out photos, we're able to send out any type of message to that particular audience. And then finally, we've revamped our website for increased usability. Our website has been kind of a crutch for us because we have a lot of information there, but it's so hard to access it because the good stuff is really buried down. And so one of the things we've done is revamped our website with a lot of graphics and just self-explanatory buttons. If you're with our target audience, if you're a parent, if you're a rental property owner, if you're a contractor, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, we have information that's on our websites. But it's not just information to educate. Again, one of our goals is to really engage in the audience when they come to any of our platforms. And so we're going to have downloadable checklists. We're going to have different resources. We're going to point them to our social media pages and present them with different videos where they can learn things on. And then coming up in 2023, so next year, we're planning on doing some outdoor campaigns. And by outdoor, that means just bus ads or billboards, anything that is on the outside where, again, we can just reach a broader audience through a targeted neighborhood. Next slide, please. And so along with our targeted campaigns, again, we're going to target specific audiences. So this past year, we've targeted families through family resource fairs, as well as newsletters. We're going to be doing some social media contests with specific groups. And then with property owners, it's been a really big target. We've renewed some of our relationships with East Bay Rental Housing Association. We're also going to be seeking out this the Rental Housing Association of Southern Alameda County as well, which is a separate organization. We've increased our visibility with the different housing authorities, with the Oakland Housing Authority, with the Alameda County Housing Authority, and then we're still working on Alameda and Berkeley Housing Authorities. However, once we get a campaign together, it's going to be duplicatable, and we'll be able to take it to other areas and other organizations. And then our third targeted audience, of course, is contractors. And so one of the things that we're getting ready to do is just really increase our level of trainings that we're offering to contractors. We're really going to try and promote the RRP, especially in lieu of the bill, to see whether or not DPH will be able to take over enforcement of the RRP regulations from the federal EPA. And so we're just really gearing up for that, ensuring that the contractors in Alameda County are trained prior to any type of legislation going through. Next slide, please. Our targeted partnerships have increased so much since COVID. If I have to say one thing positive that has come out of COVID is just really the partnerships that we were able to create just so that we can keep our head above water. However, with the partnerships, again, we're targeting partnerships with specific areas that we're going into specific neighborhoods. And with the neighborhoods, we notice that there is an inequality between African American and Latino residents and children, where they have a higher incidence of lead poisoning. And so different partnerships where we can reach out to groups that target those audiences is what we're looking out for. And then also, again, with our traditional partnerships, the Head Starts, the housing authorities, we're strengthening those relationships. But something new that we're doing is we're getting new audiences and new partnerships. And so the probation department, which is through Alameda County Workforce Development, and then Tech Exchange, which is a nonprofit organization that reaches out to low-income families so that they can connect them to the digital divide. They're providing them with hotspots, they're providing them with tablets and computers so that during COVID, they were able to get the information that they needed. And so when we partner with Tech Exchange, we're giving our information to them because their audience is our target population. So again, it's not a traditional partnership, but we have the same audience and we're just working every angle that we can. And then increased usability of the website. I talked about this. We're providing downloadable documents, checklists, and we're really promoting our email subscription page as well. Next slide, please. One of the things I just wanted to talk really briefly about is our priority neighborhood campaign that we're doing. As April had stated, that we're starting in the Ashland Cherryland area. And the reason why we're doing this is because we selected our neighborhoods based on a number of key factors. The factors, the data showed that the rate of lead poisoned children relative to the population in this area was the highest in Alameda County. So of course, this is the neighborhood that we're going to start with first. And then we also looked at the number of low income families in this area, as well as the number of housing that was built before 1978. And then finally, the total number of children that either live or reside in this area. We were able to pull the data from our own nurse case management lead poisoning cases, as well as the census data. And so based on the data and the key indicators, we'll prioritize which neighborhoods will move into second, third, and fourth, but utilizing this first priority neighborhood campaign as pretty much a pilot project where we can just duplicate a lot of the strategies to the new neighborhoods. Next slide, please. So once we're able to identify the neighborhoods, it's going to be really important for us to engage and educate the community by, again, identifying the particular neighborhood partners. I mentioned the probation department. We're working with the Board of Supervisor staff because they are very in tune with the ground workings of different organizations in their jurisdictions. And then also community advocacy groups that work with Latinx or African American children, because we do know that they're more likely to get lead poisoned. And so utilizing these techniques really ensures that we're going to be working our outreach campaign with a racial and health equity mind frame. And then educating families at neighborhood events. I mentioned that we've been saturating neighborhood events that are in the targeted community. And so up until today, we've participated at the Cherryland Elementary School Wellness Fair, the Ashland Reach Youth Center, which had a family resource fair, the San Lorenzo High School Community Wellness Fair, where they had a focus on gardening. We had a Roll into Spring, a nutrition and wellness fair, and then finally Cadango, which was a family resource fair for Head Start and Early Start families. Next slide, please. And the final piece of our outreach and education campaign is allowing residents and audiences to feel empowered. And we're doing that by providing resources to them. One of the primary resources is, of course, we want them to take action to remove lead hazards. So we're doing a broad recruitment campaign into our lead hazard control grants. And again, we're casting a wider net. It's not the easiest campaign to really promote. And so what we're doing is we're casting the wider net, and then we're looking into eligibility afterwards, because if they're not eligible to receive lead hazard control grants, we want to provide them with some type of resource, some type of thing that can empower them to remove the lead hazards. And those programs are still in the work, but I can't wait to share it with you guys once things have been finalized. And then we're using some of the lead settlement funds to provide education and lead testing for home-based childcares. Ever since COVID had started, there's been a rise in home-based childcares where there is a childcare provider who's providing care in her home, and he or she is able to provide care for up to 8 children. And so because the number of home-based childcares have increased within the different priority neighborhoods that we're looking at that have older housing, because children are spending the majority of their time, at least 8 hours, in these environments, we want to make sure that we can provide lead testing for these home-based childcares. And then finally, we're also providing RRP training to property owners. What we've experienced is that because of COVID, there's been a lot of property owners, either owner occupied or even rental property owners, that are doing the work themselves. And there is some funding that's coming up due to ARPA, because what we've learned is that a lot of rental property owners have not been able to receive their rents, and it's caused for a lot of deferred maintenance. With this deferred maintenance, we're seeing that either tenants or rental property owners are doing the work themselves. And so seeing that this is a source of potential lead hazards, we're providing RRP training to the property owners. And then, of course, the last piece of empowerment is encouraging more screenings of kids. And so that's the primary reason why we're at the community outreach fairs. We're sharing our educational materials with partners in the community, again, just saturating and blanketing a community with the local libraries, with legislative news, the local legislature's newsletters, with the schools, with the child cares. And you can just see that it's just a blanketing canvassing campaign that we're doing. And finally, we're also contracting with CBOs that are going to be engaged in a door knocking campaign to educate the community with language appropriate materials. So whether it's promotoras or different neighborhood groups that target different ethnicities, we want to make sure that we have a presence on the ground so that they're going door by door to ensure that number one, they know that we're here, that we're focusing on their community, and that we do have services available to them. Last slide, please. So this is the slide where I can take questions. I know it was a lot, but we started off really busy. Right now, we're filling all the activity that's going on, and it's just really snowballing into the new fiscal year. And so we have some new programs that are going to be coming online soon. But if you have any questions, myself and Johnny, who is our tech guru, as well as April and Larry, would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you so much for that comprehensive presentation. Can we take this share screen down? Thank you. Directors, do you have questions about any of the materials that were presented? Director Wengrath.
Thank you so much, April and Sunny. This was really a fabulous presentation, and I'm really glad to see the thought and energy behind it. I have one question. Have you made or have any plans to do any outreach to pregnant women? I'm thinking that they are a very targeted population. I myself feel that all of this education has to start very early. And I'm wondering if any efforts have been made to do outreach to that population.
Yes, that is such a great question. I'm gonna grab a box that I have here. I don't know if it's gonna, this is a, oh gosh, I hate this thing. Okay, so it's a kit for newborn parents or parents of newborns.
Yeah.
Newborn
Actually, it's
Newborn parents, we have hit a new phase of human reproduction. Thank you. Okay.
I know. So this is the actual box, and inside the kit, these are being given out through First Five, Alameda County, to all of the hospitals and pediatricians and organizations that actually work with parents of newborns. And so one of the goals that we have is really to increase our primary prevention. If we can prevent lead poisoning from happening, at the youngest age possible, which is pregnancy in utero, then that is our goal. Because if we can educate the parents so that they can look out for the lead hazards, before the babies are crawling, then it just makes our job so much easier. It's all about working smarter, not harder. And then we're also working with Black Infant Health, where they actually reach out to the whole county as well, just to ensure that, racially and equitably, we're reaching minority populations where they're at, with organizations that already have a rapport with these different audiences and target populations. And so we're really excited. We're giving out 200 of these kits every quarter to different hospitals and providers, prenatal care providers. And so if there's anything else that the JPA has in mind or is aware of in your particular jurisdiction, please let us know, because primary prevention is one of our key focuses this year.
Are you working with Healthy Black Families?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I would be just curious knowing what it would cost. So Emeryville runs one of the state's only child development centers. The Emeryville Child Development Center is one of a few that is actually a city-run childcare, and it's mostly for it's an affordable option for people compared to the private childcare systems, and so it's mostly utilized by low-income families in our city, or people who come to work in our city who bring their kids there, and the vast majority of them are mothers who have multiple children, like very young kids. And I'm just wondering what kind of connection we can make with that, right? Like if there was something to do with that, so that every family that joined the Child Development Center got this information in this kit. We're moving away from doing infants to like minimum 1 year old. We're moving away from the infant providing, just because it's really costly, and it's not been reliably consistent during COVID in terms of people's requests for infant care. So I would just be interested in learning more about what that would entail.
Yeah.
Director, go ahead. Sorry.
The one in Emeryville specifically, prior to COVID, we've done presentations, parent presentations, and then staff trainings at least once or twice a year. And then we also work with the elementary school, which isn't too far. However, since COVID, we haven't done anything with them. However, with some of the Oakland Head Starts, we were able to do webinar or Zoom presentations, because they were able to put that together, or that was the way that they were able to keep their parents in contact during COVID. And so we can reach out to them now that, a lot of things have slowed down, to see again if there is some type of curriculum or something that we can institute within their programming, so that parents will automatically either get information. And actually there's a legislation coming up where they are going to be required. So we have a lot of work to do, where the state in any type of childcare, whether it's home-based or center-based, is required to not only test test the facility for lead in water, but they're also required to give out lead information as well as take a training. And so for Alameda County, our hope and our goal is to take that over because the state stuff is really boring and it's just, ugh. So we're hoping to take that over. But again, it's a big job to take upon. So, yeah.
Thank you, Director Gaio.
Thank you. Let me first give thanks to our staff for the information, and if you can make those slides available, that would be a great, and I will check back with Mr. Brooks in terms of what is the cooperation between the city of Oakland. I mean, the information you provided is outstanding, and I want to make sure that there's a unison in terms of trying to address the needs here in the city of Oakland, working together. And I know that sometimes we compete against each other or not, but at the end of the day, we're all hired to serve the residents of the city. And so we want to make sure that continues. I do have a city council meeting at 10 o'clock. So I will have to leave you, and I believe now you have a quorum with other members present, John. So
I do lose a quorum if you leave. It's a goofy rule because you're the majority of the votes technically.
oh, really?
Yeah. So what I want to do is once we're done with the discussion of this, I'm going to go back to agenda item 5 to handle the schedule, and then we can go from there.
Or maybe I can keep both meetings running together. I got to ask my daughter to teach me how to do that.
I don't know how that works.
Anyway, so thank you, and I want to listen and be supportive, and I will check in with Mr. Brooks, and I'll be on and check it. I'll stay as long as I can.
Okay. Well, is there any other questions or comments on this
No,
item?
that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I'm going to close agenda item 6 and thank staff for the presentation, and we'll get the details.
I would like to remind you that this item is an action item. And
it's to approve it. Okay, sorry. We'll entertain a motion.
Number 7.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on item 6?
There's no public comment.
Okay, is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Director Gaia, seconded by Director Vella to approve this item. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy? Director Hardy is present.
Actually, you have to note her as absent if she doesn't identify herself.
Okay, Director Hardy absent. Alternate Savas?
Yes.
Savas, aye. Director Vella?
Aye.
Vella, aye. Director Winrup? Director Winrup?
Aye.
Okay, Winrup, aye. Director Bowders?
Aye.
Bowders, aye. Director Gaio?
Aye.
Gaio, aye.
Okay. All right. We have the department's budget. So let me just ask April, since I have to get 5 and 7 done, it looks like. So let me ask real quick on agenda item 7. April, is there any major changes to the budget this year?
No.
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 Okay. Are there any directors who have questions about the budget this year? Okay, I'm waiving presentation. Is there any public comment on the budget this year?
There's no public comment.
Okay, the budget has been consistent and there's no changes in the lease. There are no changes in the grant programs, correct? There's nothing of material change that we need to know? Nope.
No.
Okay, so we are working on a repetitive budget. Is there a motion on the budget?
So
So
move.
moved. Oh, second.
I have a motion by Gaio and a second by Vella to approve the budget. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy? Hardy absent. Alternate Savas?
Yes.
Savas, aye. Director Vella?
Aye.
Vella, aye. Director Winrup?
Aye.
Winrup, aye. Director Bowders?
Aye.
Bowders, aye. Director Gaio?
Aye.
Gaio, aye.
Thank you. The budget is approved. Move to item 5, which is request to reschedule the July 28th.
Director Hardy's unmuted.
Hardy.
Yeah, Ms. Hardy, to be present for a vote, you have to be off mute when they call your name, okay? So we're gonna go to the next item and
Well, she keeps trying to be, I don't know what's going on with her phone, but she's in the meeting, but it keeps going in and out. So this is her daughter. So she comes to get me and she's in, but the phone keeps going in and out. She's been on the meeting since this morning.
I
but if
recognize that. Allow me to speak, please. I recognize that. When we call a roll call, a person has to actually speak. So I understand she's got a technology issue, but I'm just stating that she's technically absent for a vote if she doesn't vote. That's all I'm saying. So if she can remain, if you can remain off mute. Okay, Ms. Hardy, Ms. Hardy, we're going to move to the next item. We can discuss the technology issues after the meeting because we need to take a vote on an item. You're welcome to vote on the item. If you'd remain off mute, that would be great. And we can help you with the technology issue as we go along here. So item 5 is the July 28th JPA board meeting, proposed rescheduling. And the July 28th meeting, the proposal that I'd like to put forward is to ask members to look at the calendar for July 21st, which is the week before, and ask if 10 a.m. on July 21st works.
Okay.
That works for you, Director Hardy?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes.
I couldn't hear what you said, because you over there with the phone, my hearing aid over here.
Mom, why you getting so loud?
Because I'm getting upset because of this communication, this teleconference meeting.
Okay, Director Wengraf?
Yes, it's fine for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Vella.
That works for me.
Okay, Director Hardy, the suggestion is to move the July 28th meeting.
Hello?
Hello, Director Hardy, can you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the discussion item is the directors would like to move the July 28th meeting to July 21st at 10 a.m.
Okay, so is it the June meeting? It's one meeting that we had did away with for the year. But what month was that?
So we would have the June meeting on the regular date, the fourth Thursday. The July meeting would move to the third Thursday at 10 a.m. and we never have an August meeting. August is the month we take off.
Okay, I knew it was 1 month. There was no meeting. So then you're going to move the July meeting up to the third Thursday rather than the fourth.
Yes, but it will be at 10 a.m. instead of 9 a.m.
Okay, okay.
You're available?
Yes.
Okay, so having had that discussion, is there public comment?
The public comment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second,
I have a motion by Gaio and a second by Vella to reschedule the July 28th regularly scheduled meeting to a special meeting on July 21st at 10 o'clock a.m. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy?
Aye.
Hardy, aye. Alternate Savas?
Yes.
Savas, aye. Director Vella?
aye.
Vella, aye. Director Winruff? Winruff, aye. Director Bouters?
Aye.
Bouters, aye. Director Gaio?
Aye.
Gaio, aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. So that moves us through our action items. So Director Gaio, I understand you may have to go to another meeting. So we've covered all the action items at least. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, and thanks to all of you. I do have this business taxes increase and open on the agenda. So I'll be here from 10 o'clock to 3 in the afternoon, hearing the public debate and so forth, so I can tax Mr. Larry Brooks a little higher and be able to use this so I can pay my salary with it.
Oh,
Oh, no,
wow.
this is for serving the community. I'm just joking.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyways, thank you for the information, and I will follow up with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move to agenda item number 8, which is the director's report.
Okay, let's see. I'll run through this real quick if everyone can see my screen,
We
hopefully.
can, yes.
Okay, great. So a couple of things. Sony mentioned how we have been trying to engage others in the community in order to spread the word about the dangers of lead poisoning, and especially within the schools. We've been trying to partner now with the various school districts, but we've also been partnering with other professional organizations such as the California Association of Code Enforcement Officers, the International Code Council, a number of other organizations, chief building officials of California. So as Sony said, we're nationally known. We're now becoming known statewide. In fact, the head of the Child Lead Poisoning Prevention Branch for the California Department of Public Health just complimented Sony yesterday, she doesn't know that, about the presentations that she was asked to do statewide, because all the child lead poisoning prevention programs are broken down into regions. And she was asked to do a presentation on our education, engagement, and empowerment strategies to each of those regions. Amongst some of the groups that we've been talking to is Cece Muella, I always call her Cece, it's Cecilia, who is part of a organization called Women Leaders in Code Enforcement. It's a national organization that she helped found, but she actually is home based in the Bay Area. And as a result of some of the engagement work that we have been doing, Cece began to do her own similar community outreach work, and recently began a year ago going into the classrooms and not only teaching the children about the code enforcement and building inspection, but also doing presentations on lead poisoning prevention, which has brought about a few benefits that she did not expect, such as all these letters that she's now getting from children thanking her for the training, that education that she's been doing with children, not just here in the Bay Area, but all across the nation as she works with the women leaders in code enforcement. And that was a direct result of the work of the Healthy Homes Department, our education and engagement team. So we hope to have that type of ripple effect throughout the state, not just in Alameda County, but throughout the state, throughout the nation. If we can touch people who will then go out and touch others, then I think our work is being accomplished. So just wanted to recognize Cece as one of our ambassadors. And then, as you all know, Frontline Catalysts did a town hall, and at the last JPA meeting, Director Gallo had asked that the Alameda County Healthy Homes be present, and certainly we were. And Oakland Side did a news article about the town hall meeting. I've been contacted by Oakland Side. They're going to do a follow-up in terms of the work that was done by the sixth grade students. And I think I mentioned just before, or no, Sony mentioned that I attended the Emeryville Unified School District Board meeting last night, where I got to hear a similar type of project being presented by students at Emory High. And it was an excellent presentation. Hope to schedule them to do a similar presentation to the JPA in the very near future, because they also are working with eBay's and with Lawrence Livermore labs. And so we certainly want to do that. At the Fruitvale Town Hall, Council Member Fife was present, and I put in a comment there, again, complimenting Sony and the work she was doing with the students. Council Member Fife was so impressed that she's now asked that something be done there in West Oakland. And so I know we have some partners within West Oakland. I know West Oakland Indicators we partnered with on a number of occasions. So we will be trying to do something with the students there at her request. And we also did some things with some of the college students at Cal State East Bay, which that will continue as well as part of our education engagement strategy. I think one thing that I would add also in terms of the targeted areas that we're going to be working in, many of the goals and objectives, if you look at the document, it will talk about the things that we are doing countywide in addition to that. And it's all part of I think, a bigger strategy in terms of addressing lead poisoning prevention on a more comprehensive scale, which I've talked in the past about how we are approaching this from a number of different perspectives, including legislatively. And that's where the renovation, repair, painting bill comes into play, the Senate Bill 1076 by Senator Archuleta, which I've been giving you monthly reports on. So I just wanted to give you an update. Just yesterday, that bill was on the state Senate floor, and it passed on a 32-6 vote. And as a result, it will go over to the Assembly, where we will again have to give testimony at the various committee meetings, and hopefully it will go through those committees just as it went through the Senate committees. And then it will go to, if all goes well, a Assembly vote. And if we're fortunate, we'll get this bill to the governor's desk. But we believe that it's really crucial that the state take over the responsibility from the federal government for enforcing lead safe work practices with laborers. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. This bill was introduced twice over the last 10 years and did not get signed by the governor, but we're thinking here third time is a charm. And because it is getting a lot of community support, as you can see in the floor alert letter, all the different organizations that are signing on supporting the letter. We believe that we have the momentum this time to get this to work, and that we will get the governor to sign it into law. I think it's critical to some of the other things that we're attempting to accomplish. And then just lastly, as Director Gallo has already indicated, it's important that we start talking with Oakland about the settlement dollars. As you know, Oakland received 20% of the settlement dollars already, but there is 40% of the settlement dollars that are supposed to be spent within Oakland through the Healthy Homes Department. So many of the strategies that Sony talked about in her presentation, we hope to be able to implement some of those strategies within Oakland as well, but we need to negotiate with Oakland in terms of how those monies will be used. Sony has talked about the fact that we, in terms of how we're going to use the money outside of Oakland, we're definitely taking into account some of the information that Oakland presented with regards to race and equity. We are applying that race and equity lens to the work that we are proposing for all the cities and the unincorporated county with regards to our portion of the settlement dollars. We believe that we will be able to partner with Oakland in the same way. In fact, I think it's crucial that we do. Oakland's director of race and equity has said several times at the negotiations table and also at the city council that they believe that their area of expertise is race and equity, that they have a head start on all the other cities in the unincorporated county in terms of race and equity strategies. We believe that we have the edge in terms of education, engagement, and empowerment, as you could see in Sony's presentation. So I see opportunities for us to be able to work together, and I will talk with Director Gallo more about that. And I will keep the JPA posted. I hope that we'll be back at the negotiations table with Oakland by next month, and that I will be able to report to you on what progress we're making. That concludes the director's report. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Director Brooks. Are there any questions from members of the JPA board? Seeing none. Is there any public comment on this item, Liddy say?
There's no public comment.
Okay, and no action has been requested through this report, so thank you for the updates. We'll track 1076. That will move us to item 9, which is the April monthly report.
I have nothing to report on that.
Okay, and seeing no public comment on that item, we'll move to item number 10, future agenda items. Is there any directors who wish to have a future agenda item for one of the meetings coming up? Okay, I see no future agenda items. Announcements by members of the board of directors. Are there any announcements that members would like to make?
Might I make an announcement?
You may, of course.
Yes, Sony indicated how not only are we learning to communicate with more partners and how well we've done in light of COVID, that is one of the bright spots of COVID. And I believe that's because everybody else is trying to reach out now via virtual means. And Sony mentioned that we learn a lot from our directors, one in particular, our director Botters. And we learned a lot about social media through our directors and Director Botters. This was a great article that we got to see about you. And we also saw some articles in the, I believe it's the Evil. Yes, the Evil Eye.
Oh, well,
we
that's not really news. That's a blog that is notorious for not having facts and trolling council members, but that's okay. It's a very bad source of information for everybody, and that's on a public record. And I'll say it, man. The man writes what he wants. He doesn't even live in our town. He's a lot of fun. Trust me.
Yes, we do learn a lot in terms of the history of Emeryville through the Evil Eye. And so we do plan to reach out to Emeryville in terms of social media. I know we didn't really touch too much upon it in our presentation, but we just want to assure you that we do have that in the strategy and our goals and objectives to try to keep up with everything that's going on in Emeryville as well as the other cities, and utilize our resources in order to educate that population. And one of the best ways we're going to be able to do that, I think, is by way of the work that we're doing with the students there in Emeryville School District.
Awesome. I'm happy to talk to you about what are the reliable sources for information in my city. So, because just because you think it says history or just because you think it says facts doesn't make it so. And what I've learned is that disinformation is a addictive thing for people these days. They'll read whatever and they'll take it as the word of God, and it is oftentimes not true. And those of us in public office face the constant battle of, do you engage it and constantly get sucked into fighting people who just say whatever they want, or do you just go about your business and do your job? So I'm sure the other directors on this call who are off screen are laughing and smiling because they each have that experience in their own city, I'm sure.
Then again, we will appreciate learning about outreach through our directors.
Yeah, and that, I think that is an appropriate thing to do. We can talk about that. We can have a future agenda about that if you'd like. We can have a future discussion about social media and public engagement if that would be of interest to you. You can agenda that.
Clearly.
So is there any other announcements from anybody? Okay, well, our next meeting is on, I believe, June 23rd. Is that correct, Lydia saying?
Yes, June 23rd.
Our next meeting is June 23rd at 9:00 a.m. And until that time, I hope you have a lovely Memorial Day weekend with your friends and family. Enjoy that long weekend, and the start of summer is here. So please be well and be safe. And we will see you all soon. The time is 10:08 and this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Gwen.